This is how Jin Ping Mei is read. Chapter 48. Embroidered portrait book, playing an affair and giving a peach as a gift. Taking shortcuts to find out the 7 things chapter book. Zheng Yeshi participated in the impeachment of the executioner. Kai Taishi performed the 7 things. 1. Follow-up to the Mao King case. At first glance, we can understand from the title of this embroidery album that the double-line structure we are familiar with is back before us again. When Simon King accepted 500 taels in the Mao King case, he originally wanted to hide it from the truth. However, this corruption and perversion of the law, which was less technical than the gourd monk's case of breaking the gourd, was found in a copy by the censor Zhang Xiaoshu, which almost led to disaster. Fortunately, Simon King, who possesses extraordinary powers, found his backstage boss Jin. As we often see, Zhang Xiaoshu's memorial was sent to the relevant departments and disappeared without a trace, while Simon King was unscathed and, even more, a surprise awaited him. For this kind of thing that is not considered a disturbance or risk at all. I don't even bother to mention it in the title of the portrait book. On the other side of the dual-line structure, Pan Jinlian, who has fallen out of favor, is having a heated fight with Shen Jingji, and having an affair and giving a peach has become the protagonist of the noisy Qingming festival. This means that Pan Jinlian, who has gradually become hysterical in the past few episodes, has begun to go in further on another fork in life. As for Mao King's case, although Simon King had no luck, here is a brief summary of the clues. Complaint line, and Tong, sentence court. Investigating line 1, mentioned to the criminal court the boatman, bribery line. Mao King, Wang Liuer, Di Xing Yuan. Result, the boatman was convicted, the executioner accepted bribes, and Mao King escaped, and Tong narrowly escaped death, and passed the Kaifeng Prefecture Huangtongzhuan to report the case to the censor. Investigation line 2, the corpse of the Mao member, Dispin, a monk in the temple. Result, Dispin believed that the corpse was near the temple. That is, the monks in the temple were seeking wealth and murder, so he detained the monks. Upgrade the complaint line, and Tong, Huang Tongpan, Zhang Xiaoshu, upgrading the investigation line. Zhang Xiaoshu, a monk in the temple, concluded the case and filed an impeachment report. Upgrading the bribery line, Di Xing Yuan, Sai Jin, Kai Jing. Result, the impeachment memorial fell into the hands of Kai Jing, and the investigation line was completely defeated by the bribery line. We no longer need to comment too much on how the King County Criminal Court handles cases. Discipline, another walk-on this time, is the county magistrate of Yangu County next door. The text evaluates him as, he is a tough man who doesn't need money, and is confused when asking questions. If we say that an official is an upright person if he does not engage in corruption or bribery, then Dispin is naturally an upright official. However, Dispin is not a good official because he is confused when asking questions. He even went so far as to blame the monks in the temple and beat them up when they found a corpse near the temple. In addition, they were detained indefinitely. If Intong had not survived the catastrophe, these monks would have died in prison in vain. Obviously, in a human-governed society where parents and officials decide life and death, being confused when asking questions is even more terrifying than conditional corruption and bending the law. In comparison, Simon King's corruption and perversion of the law only allowed one of the real culprits to be spared, while Dispin's confused questioning may have led to the death of more innocent people. Fortunately, the censor Zhang Xiaoshu re-examined the case. It stands to reason that the censor of a province should be a censor, with a particularly resounding title comparable to the provincial governor. The cases are clearly organized and the memorials are beautifully written. However, he has almost no ability to reverse the case. This in the end is why. Let's take a look at a passage from the original text by Jin. Zheng Yeshi Shenbin hasn't arrived yet, so you can stay here for 2 days. Now that the master has recently stated 7 things, the decree has not yet come down. I will leave this book when Zheng Yushibin arrives. When I say to the master, I only told him in the palace that the ministry knows. I sent someone here to tell you Shangshu of the Ministry of War not to cover up his book. Just don't worry about it and don't care about other things. One reason was that the memorial submitted by Zhang Xiaoshu was delivered too slowly, so Lai Bao rushed to Tokyo in advance to report the matter to Jin, and made preparations in advance. Secondly, Kai Jing's power was too great. He could withhold the memorial and prevent the Ministry of War from submitting it to the emperor, which gave the incident enough time to ease. On the other hand, the patrol is also full, and a new patrol has been appointed. Zheng Xiaoshu's term of patrol has almost expired, and the new patrol will be the same as the well-known Kai Kai next time. The champions visited Simon's house together. In addition, according to research by modern scholars, the two names Dispin and Zheng Xiaoshu were real people in history, but they were just borrowed into novels. But the novel is just a fable. What help can historical figures provide for the interpretation of the novel? The text of Jin Ping Mei evaluates Zheng Xiaoshu as: he is an extremely honest and upright official. His tone must be much stronger than that of Dispin. After all, his righteousness determines that he may sympathize with the weak and dare to challenge the darkness. However, even so, Zheng Xiaoshu's actions were still limited, because in a society governed by man, the power of an individual was almost pitifully small. Taking water as an analogy, if the water is clear, the turbidity will have nowhere to hide. But this situation is very rare, and if the water is turbid, the clearness can only be turbidity. If you want to get rid of the silt without being stained, you can only adapt to it. Turbidity, rooted in turbidity, and able to navigate the turbidity with ease, can bloom the flowers of purity outside, which requires courage, intelligence, and mind. Zheng Xiaoshu lived in such a turbulent era. Regarding Mao Qing's case, the rational way to deal with it is naturally as he did. However, in a dirty society ruled by men, this is simply not feasible, because to defeat people in a society governed by man, what is needed is human power, political power, not systems and laws. Therefore, when a person's strength is not strong enough, you can only choose to compromise and avoid and then move forward in a roundabout way. Otherwise you will be counterattacked even more severely. At the end of this chapter, Zheng Xiaoshu directly stated the 7 disadvantages of Kai Jing, which made the country rich and the people poor. Kai Jing was naturally unhappy. How could he know that the emperor would be happy? In addition to asking for trouble, the scholar's feelings were also retaliated against, until Xiaozu was removed from the list and fled to Lingbiao to avenge him. Perhaps history will remember that a bright heart that dared to remonstrate directly. However, after 10 years of hard work, success and fame were not enough. A little bit of benefit to the soil and water may be easily lost. 2. An affair under the peach blossom. Simon King, who was safe and sound, accidentally got a windfall, so he came up with a new trick. This trick had not been seen in the previous 40 times, and had never appeared in Simon King's mind. This is what happened with Simon King, quota, who returned to his hometown in wealth, visited the graves of his ancestors to pay homage to his ancestors. It's just that this seemingly grand and spectacular ancestor worship activity is just the foreshadowing of Chen Pan's affair. We look at the description in the text. First, a large decoration was made near the tomb, and then rich sacrifices were prepared. Then relatives and friends were notified. First, musicians and prostitutes were invited. Then relatives, friends, helpers, assistants, son-in-law, and then women and family members were invited. Wait, then there are sacrifices, more than 20 sedan chairs, 40 or 50 people carrying sacrifices, and the vast expanse of water goes up and down the mountain. However, the worship after a routine process is just a cold official guest sacrifice. After that, the guests of the hall began to offer sacrifices. They started to play gongs and drums together. Next, Mr. in Chapter 19. When the widow goes to her new grave, only 9 people are left alone. We can imagine the author's good intentions. On the other side, Pan Jinlian, who couldn't hold back her loneliness, started her new affair game, and her opponent was still her son-in-law Chen Jingji. If you want to write a script, the basic elements of the script are roughly as follows. Time, the 7th year of Zheng, the 6th day of March, Qingming Festival. Location, Simon family ancestral grave. Leading actors and actresses, Chen Jingji, Pan Jinlian. Story, an affair. Props, a peach blossom, a child named Brother Guan. Why do you say Brother Guan is a prop? Because Pan Jinlian looked at Guanji's cuteness and once again showed her natural motherhood. She couldn't help but kiss her a few times. At this time, Pan Jinlian may have forgotten that she was Simon King's concubine and Li Ping'er's mortal enemy. However, the appearance of Chen Jingji broke the tranquility of the moment and made Pan Jinlian remember herself, so she began to use the official brother as a prop to tease Chen Jingji. Little Taoist priest, you also kiss your brother-in-law. The dandy Chen Jingji is here. Compared with Simon King's genius in this field was even better. He understood it quickly and without any explanation. He hugged the child over and kissed him several times. He was so frightened by the gongs and drums of ancestor worship that he almost lost his breath. The poor official brother now seemed to be the medium for the two of them to kiss. Pan Jinlian, it's so short-lived. Whoever raises his own child will mess up his beard. Chen Jingji, you also said that I was right to kiss you earlier. The instigator, Pan Jinlian, knew the truth and asked, and Chen Jingji, who was self-taught, took advantage of this situation. Who could be the wrong person to kiss? But Pan Jinlian was afraid that Ryer on the side would see the clues. So she turned the fan over the handle and hit Chen Jingji. Chen Jingji, you old man, please show some affection. If someone is wearing thin clothes, just beat him. Pan Jinlian, how much do I cherish my love? From now on, if you mess with me, just hit me blindly. How much touching and humane meaning can be read out from the word from now on after chewing it? Ryer on the side, no matter how stupid she was, could still see the unusual relationship between the two, but it was best to ignore the matter if it had nothing to do with her. So she quickly took Brother Guan away to settle the matter. The script of the two has not yet been completed, and Pan Jinlian still wants to make a peach blossom ring to put on Chen Jingji's head, adding the finishing touch to an affair story. Everyone knows what peach blossoms mean to love. All the way home after worshipping ancestors during the Qingming festival, the timid Brother Guan not only failed to receive the blessings of his ancestors, but because of various frights, he cried at night and refused to nurse. This little baby, who only lived for 14 months, always experienced fear during his lifetime. For example, this time, in order to prove Simon King's fault, of course, it is hard to say that it is wrong to take the child to worship ancestors. Wu Yunyang was asked to do it 3 times. He mentioned twice that he shouldn't visit the grave. What's more, Simon King only visited the grave, but he also had to show off with drums and noise. Just to show off, he also had to hold a feast in Zhongshanwu. And Li Ping'er also neglected to let Pan Jinlian and Chen Jingji used Brother Guan as a prop from the final result. The direct cause of Brother Guan's death was the stimulation of the snow lion. But judging from the whole book, both Simon King and Li Ping'er have unshakable responsibilities.
Alright, this part of the story ends here.
Want to know what happened next? Let's listen to the breakdown next time.